Hey guys, Voscon Grim here, just going through a simple map test before I upload this to my server. This is a Venator map that I've been working on for roughly about a week. A lot of effort's gone into that 1 week's worth of time, and despite only being a week, I managed to get quite a lot done so far that I would like to. However, there is some stuff that I'm going to be adding into newer versions of this specific map. But other than that, I'm going to give you guys a quick tour and let you see what's in it. So I'm going to go in game real quick. By the way, sorry if you hear my keyboard typing. My mic is pretty sensitive. So we're going to start in main hangar. So, oh my bad. Ah, running around a little bit. No clips, a little bit annoying. But anyways, so we have the main hangar, right? So we got the normal. I need to fix that because I'm not supposed to be able to pick that up. But anyways, we got the normal standard moon pool. You got the drop down in there. You got a shield over it. We also have these little storage areas right there, which there's an actual room down in there, which I'm going to show you that. So if I go in here, there's an actual large storage area where you can actually store many different things. I may also convert this into a completely different kind of thing for the ship. I'm not sure yet, but for now it's just staying as an open storage area until then. We also have the buttons here that open and close this. On left side is always the open button, and the right side is always the close button. Just to make it really simple, every button you see around that's like on one of these pedestals, it's exactly like that. So the one down there that I pressed to open it is that one. But this one, boom, closes it. And you even ride on them too. It's pretty hilarious. So if we go over here, we got the med bay. Now, med bay's not completely done. I'm going to show you the stuff that's not done first, and then I'll get to the stuff that actually is done. So right here we had 3 operating rooms where various things that would happen on my server involving operations like prosthetic limbs, implants, stuff like that, surgeries, major stuff like that. Those would be performed back there. Got a little kiosk here, a waiting area out there. One thing to note, by the way, along this wall, if you're on my server, because the entity is there, this is just a test server on my local network, so they're not there obviously, but along the wall there's also going to be back to dispensers. If you're ever on my server with this map, the back to dispensers can basically heal you. When you just run up to it, press E, you get a small boost in health. It's pretty useful. For anything major, however, you're going to want to come over to here. These are the back to tanks. Now let me go to main hangar real quick. I'm just going to get my health lowered. 40's good. Alright, so if you see, my health is slowly rising. Right now the back to tanks aren't fully done, however for the most part they're perfectly fine. If you're on my server, that you'll actually be facing outward, not to the side. That's just because the script that changes that's not on this test server at the moment. And when you get out, boom, you're right back here. And as you can see, I'm at 100 health. And it took me about a few of the days that I was working on this to figure out how to do that, but now it's working perfectly. So we also got the main hangar area, which is pretty damn long, right? Now, if you see over there, you see in the skybox. What I ended up doing was a few things to better optimize the map. That is one of the drawbacks, though, is the fade distance for the back of the view. You don't see the full moon pool, but you can clearly see the gate right there where my target is. Oh, sorry, sensitive mouse. I accidentally nudged it a bit. Right there, you can still see the grate that's along the edge of the moon pool. And it's very rare that someone's just going to be all the way up against this wall. So if I were to say be between these doors and start slowly walking back, you see it? Right there. It's just now starting in that room. and you're only right here. So the chances of people going to be all the way looking all the way down there from here and vice versa is pretty slim. So there shouldn't be much worry about the far Z clit right there. If you're wondering why these two doors are removed, that's actually because I'm going to be putting something else right here along this little area to kind of make it even with that wall right there. And same on this side as well. Right here we also have the air officers area, so where people who are on my server who have the rank of air officers, they would basically have this as their own personal little space. Obviously we have the normal hangar bays. We have access ways going right down straight from here rather than having to make long circles around the ship and stuff like that. The doors, they're fully automatic, right? But if you do this, you can walk straight through them normally. Alright? So, they're also affected by NPCs. He's having a good time. But if I do this, I just locked that door. So basically how this works is, just like you would see in the movie itself, if you were to say, shoot an airlock's terminal control, it would typically shut, just as you would see in the movies, which was pretty cool, and I thought that'd be a good idea to add in. It would also add a perspective of the game. So let's say that I was running up to here and a Sith Lord or a bounty hunter that boarded the ship or whatever it be managed to shoot the terminal on the other side in there and lock this. I now have to go all the way around, go through here, just to hope to get to them here before they reach here. Alternatively, I just locked this one, so now he's trapped in here, right? Think again. He has a direct route right up into main hangar and can completely disappear. So even though these locks are in place, there's actually no worries about accidentally having players locked down to a single area, because there's alternative routes to various sections down there. Not every door uses that though. Notably, the ones that are in the hallways on the lower floor have it, but these don't. There's obviously the rampways walking up, like right over here. This one has it. This is the only area you could really get someone locked inside. However, I do plan on adding something to add an alternative route out, so that should be fixed very soon. This is also an area where a lockdown is typically supposed to be held anyways, so it's not too big of a problem if someone gets locked in here. And in the before the alternative routes there, I can always have my staff just teleport them out. So there's no issue there until, you know, like later on. So, but even then, it'll probably not be an issue there, right? LMAO. But anyway, so this room we're in here is the cantina. The cantina area is located right below the training facility of the ship. There will be various entities in here for cantina specific purposes. This is more of a lounging about type area, a place for fun, not so much a heavy RP environment, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, well, you can always try and slap me through the video. But anyway, so let's continue. So, the training area. I love the training area. This is actually last minute on a thing that was on it. These, you've seen these on many Venators before. This is pretty basic, standard. Like nothing new here. Over here, pretty standard as well. Large open area, people are trained in here. Lots of stuff just plastered all over the walls. Very annoying, very bad, very terrible. I always hated training on servers, so I don't do it myself. I just have this where it's no longer a new player joined, train them. It's an actual RP thing now. Hence this one. This one actually functions. So you can actually just do that. There's 3 different modes. There's fast, there's medium, and then there's slow. So there's those. Those are pretty fun on their own. There's also going to be something else right here as well as right there. And what this is going to basically be turned into is a second sim room. This would basically be used for like hand-to-hand combat, trooper versus trooper, to test their skills, sparring, and stuff like that. Alright, so I showed you the training area, showed you the cantina, showed you the blast doors. Let's go over to bunks. Welcome to the bunks. It's pretty standard, generic rooms. I like the textures I did. I don't own the texture assets that I used to make these, but I actually spent a good amount of work modifying the VTM files. Yeah, or VMF files, my bad. No, not VMF files. Fuck. I can't remember the name of the files. It's not the texture itself, it's the scripted side of the texture that determines material and all that. A lot of the reflective surface you see took quite a bit of time to actually get right. In fact, it was painfully a lot of time. Alright, so now one of the key things that I love about the doors on this area of the map, if you go into like portside hangar, you actually get a notification on screen that you're actually entering portside hangar. I also put these on the two side hangars, port and starboard, to give a bit of a second story feel to it, because it's like a large room but you can only ever walk on the floor. Well, there's actually a scaffolding up here, which likely I'm going to make it to where you can get to the other hangar from the scaffolding too, and some other areas of the ship as well. But for now, it's just scaffolding, but there are many new things planned already for this map, despite this release. Right here you have oxygen control. The ship's oxygen is manufactured from in here, which it's a prop for now, but later on I'm going to make that into a full working entity. Alright, so we got the sim room. Pretty standard sim room. Not much is really done in this area besides the shape of it. However, there's going to be some actual entity stuff going on in here too to give it a bit more of a feel. If you come over here, you got the observation window, but if you press this, you actually have a door sealing it off. This is pretty useful for stuff like events, or not events, my bad. Typically when a regiment's doing like a tryouts and they need the sim room for it, this would be great to keep that sort of stuff a in-regiment only thing. And later on, this will actually be tied to another thing down there where the person operating the sim can actually prevent someone from just coming up here and opening it again, which is pretty useful. The same thing's also going to be done here later as well. Also, one thing, I love how I did that. I need to redo one of the textures, but I actually got the community logo for my map there. Welcome to Anti-Gravity Simulation. So it took a while to figure this out, but once I figured it out, I found so many things I could do with this. So, normal, right? Right? That's normal. Normal. And suddenly, anti-gravity. Let me use my no clip to project myself. Yeah, there we go. And boom. Back to normal the moment I cross about right here. Alright, so, let's see. This is the CG area of the ship. So if you're like doing something and you did something bad and you got arrested, you'll end up being up here in one of these cells. The cells are fully functional, so you can actually open it, put someone in, and then lock it, just like would normally happen. So you can actually do an escort of a prisoner as well. This is going to be something in there later, as well as something over here too. There's also armor generators that will be placed in certain areas as well. Like right here, if you were on the server that has this map, which would be my server, there would actually be an armor generator there. And you would actually be able to pretty much get armor straight from it, increase your armor count, go into battle with a little extra protection. I did not make that entity, by the way. That entity was made by another person by the name of Officially Never Here. Great stuff that he made, and I love everything that he's made so far. In fact, I almost use... I think there's only one add-on of his that I don't use, but they're pretty great. Go check them out. You also might have noticed that these props didn't let me collide with it. That's because the props themselves are not packed into the map yet. Instead, they are just on my client, and this server doesn't have them either, so don't mind that. It's actually a lot better in-game on my server, where it's actually got those prop files. So you probably noticed this when I flew through here earlier. One of the things I noticed about many Star Wars RP servers with this particular corridor, it's always too narrow. You end up having, say, a single line of troopers coming down one way and another coming down the other. You end up getting a roadblock very easily. So I just simply spread it out a slight bit, and it's much better now. Right here you have the gravity control generator. So this will also be another functioning entity. Basically, that would allow for gravity to be turned on or off for inside the ship. So if we come in here, we got the briefing room. Classic notification thing there too. Little spotlight in a separate color to make it distinct. Lower lighting, kind of like you're actually in something like a movie theater almost, or a important area where there's probably going to be like a projection screen, something important like that, like a actual amphitheater of sorts. Something like that was the idea in mind, and I tried my best to replicate it. It's probably not perfect, and I'll probably be making improvements, but I hope it at least looks nice and decent for you guys. Feel free to let me know in comments, by the way, on this. This is actually one of the rooms that I know for a fact I could always do better, even though it looks good. Well, it looks good in my opinion. But either ways, give me your thoughts on these rooms, by the way, not just this one. I do actually want input on these. Thank you. Alright, but yeah, I'm not done yet. So, let's continue. If we go over about... Yeah, here we go. This is the power core of the ship. So, let's say that this goes down, which this will be a fully functioning entity as well. This goes down for, say, CIS infiltrated and blew it up. This is going to trigger everything on the map to no longer work properly. So doors that are automatic, they're no longer going to automatically open. You will have to press E on them. You will no longer have the automatic opening doors. End of story. Until this is repaired, you now have to manually press E on doors. But doors aren't the only thing. The hangars will be locked in whatever position they are, because obviously you're not going to push that open with one person. So those will not be able to be moved. If they're open, they're stuck open. If they're closed, they're stuck closed. All the lights on the ship are going to go off. The red lights are going to go on. The alarm's going to be sounded because power's down. We're now on auxiliary. It's a critical situation. So that's what would happen there. If we go over to, say, oxygen or gravity controls, those are only going to be online for so long from auxiliary power. And then boom, you now have those off. Once those goes off, not only are you in the dark with low red lighting, but you're also no longer with gravity. You now have to resort to some other means of getting around easily, be it a grapple hook, be it mag boots, be it jetpack thrusters, boots with thrusters, what have you. Whatever your means of easily traversing, that's just how you have to do it until gravity's turned back on, which engineers would actually have means to deal with this situation because they repair the ship. They're going outside and inside. they're typically the person who would actually have those on hand to deal with the situation. Or at least that's how my server does it. But anyways, so pretty much troopers have to actually rely on each other based on their classes. And the map actually took a lot of things like that into consideration when I was making it. And the engineers thing, they're actually able to interact with the map, which I thought was pretty great as well. Let's see. If you come up here, I know right now it's kind of like a dark passageway with leading to nowhere essentially. Like I can't even go through. But right there's an actual portal. It's not showing up because the server doesn't have the script for it. But this portal, the moment you go through here, it's a seamless transition into the Jedi Temple area of the ship. Now, the Jedi Temple area of the ship isn't actually in the ship, even though the portal is meant to make it look like it went through the ship. With the portal, by the way, you can shoot through it and hit things now. You still cannot hear things on the other side of it, but you can see it, you can shoot it, it can see you, it can shoot you. This works for players at the moment. You can shoot NPCs, but they aren't able to see you yet. But that hopefully isn't going to be an issue in the future. But that's one of the other entities that I'm actually excited for using a lot. So you walk through there and boom, you're in the Jedi Temple. It's pretty great, right? Now I'm going to actually show you the Jedi Temple. So let's just fall all the way down here. Oh, and if you noticed, it fades off in the distance, which is pretty great. So if you're like really far down here, you see my FPS is like almost 200. If I go up here now, I'm starting to slowly drop in FPS the more and more and more I get to rendering up here. If that's open, I'm also rendering inside main hangar. So that's why there's a fade distance on that. And that's not the far Z-clip plane that was happening in main hangar. That's actually a different fade alongside it. So we're in the Jedi Library. Now these doors, I obviously don't have them working. That's actually intentional. I'm going to be working on fully expanding the Jedi Temple area completely. So certain areas actually don't have doors working, but some do. The library specifically, I believe, is the only place that actually doesn't have any doors, though I might have done one other door somewhere else, but I need to figure out what that is later. But that's neither here nor there. That's later work. Let's get to back to the tour. So we got the Jedi Temple, pretty standard. I'm pretty sure almost everyone has seen these exact same rooms, so I'm not going to go too much into detail on them. And I will share one plan that I do have for the for a few areas here. So obviously these are the Jedi dorms where the Jedi sleep, where they meditate, and blah 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 blah. Excuse me. The rooms, they obviously can't be expanded too much, right? So I can't make them bigger. I could probably put one more right here that's accessed from here. But that's really it, right? Think again. What I'm going to end up doing is this wall is going to be gone. There's going to be an actual extended area down that way. And you would actually be able to have an extended Jedi Temple all the way about here for just the Jedi bunks. Now, if we come over to here, this isn't working yet. And in fact... okay, yeah, okay. There's also a reflection here, too. So you can actually see the stuff all reflecting everywhere. It's pretty nice looking. These don't work yet, as you can see. But the lightsabers for each of the statues will actually activate when you press that. This room is actually going to be pushed farther back that way in the map. And some stuff between here and this door will be added to basically expand upon the temple. Same thing will happen with this room as well. The seats actually are fully working now, which I'm actually proud of that. It took me a while to figure that out too. But anyway, so that's the Jedi Temple upper area. Now if we come down here, this is actually what you would see at that portal I mentioned. You would come up straight through here. Now you're probably wondering why this is here and blocking the view from in there. This is because the how to put it, it's a very intensive script. If there's a lot actually being, oh yeah, that's a model. It's an actually intensive script if the lot's being rendered in two different areas. And because the Jedi Temple is going to be expanded, which even this little hallway type thing where you walk up and down the levels, this is actually going to get expanded as well. If you have two majorly large areas like main hangar, which takes an F load out of your FPS, and then another area that's not as big but also it's decently sized, you're gonna have major FPS drops. So I ended up putting this here to help alleviate that issue. So this will actually reduce the amount of massive FPS drop because you're not rendering what's on the other side of this entire wall and ceiling and floor. Only what you can see through there, and through the portal, if you're looking through the portal. So this actually helps with FPS a lot. Now, these currently have a shield, however, they do actually do something if you fall in. And I need to remove the force from it, but that's actually going to be doing something other than killing you later. I won't tell you that part, as that's actually one of the surprises, and I kind of have a thing for surprises in the stuff I make. It's quite fun, and I like seeing people's reactions to it, but I don't want to just give it away, you know. This is obviously the standard sparring room the Jedi Temple usually has. Just like the other areas, I also plan on expanding this, as well as adding rooms of sorts too. The same thing that happens here will also happen there later as well. Let's see, I believe... Let's see... Oh yeah, there's also the logo when you fly into the ship as well through these port and starboard hangars. Now, we got the turbo lasers. Pretty nice, huh? They're currently not fully functioning yet. You can get in the seats to control them, you can fire them, but they're not fully working, unfortunately. I am still working on that. This, however, is fully working. Rather than doing a normal elevator, I actually had it just teleport you. So that works nice. Oops. Now these buttons unlock and lock various areas of the map. Like I mentioned before with the airlocks, that you could shoot the terminal and boom, it's locked. You have to go around. This is the button that actually unlocks it. So you can actually unlock those from here, which is very handy, especially when you end up... a lot of the maps made of models, by the way, forgive me for that. I didn't know I would run through that one. Anyways, a lot of the... whatchamacallit? I can't remember what I was going to say there, so I'm just going to continue on. Right here is where you would control the turbo lasers. Obviously, they're not doing anything yet. Can't really use them. Pretty useless, unfortunately. This is the control for them. This goes down. This will be an entity, by the way, later on, but for right now, it's a model. If this goes down, the lasers no longer work for either of the sides. That goes down, your main defense goes down. CIS can board the ship, they can take whatever they want, kill whoever they want. It's pretty bad. So don't let that get destroyed. Now, opening main hangar, obviously, is pretty nice, right? No, who are we kidding? Opening main hangar, it's not pretty nice at all. That's standard, right? Like, forget the nice textures of on the moon pool door aside. This is standard. Like, nobody... that's not good. I need to figure out why that happened. because the door's not supposed to open up all the way like that. But anyways, so that was standard though. Let's see non-standard. Now we have the Moonpool Blast Shield. What does the Moonpool Blast Shield do? Well, this provides an actual area of defense. This, if the Moonpool doors, which can be destroyed by a CIS boarding craft, pretty nice, right? That can actually be forced open from the outside. If a CIS boarding craft were to say, do that, there's an actual second layer of defense right here that you can actually have to prevent boarding. As well, it also serves a second purpose. Look at all this extra space we now have to use at our disposal. That's nice, right? That's really nice. We actually have an area of the main hangar that's now fully traversable. NPCs can walk on it. You can walk on it. You can fucking spawn shit on it. Let's see. In fact, let me demonstrate the combine real quick. Oh. See? He can fully walk on it. Just as normal. What you want? Bye. Anyways, so that's fully working. This is a surprise area which will be told about later. Also keep in mind, these work both ways unfortunately at the moment with the notifications, but I'll work on fixing that later. But pretty much it'll announce various different areas like that. Alright, so I'm walking around normal gravity, right? I'm just gonna no clip for a split second and launch myself into the sky. But watch this. I'm no longer touching my mouse or keyboard. I'm also not falling, right? I actually manipulated gravity outside the ship, which was also one of the things I learned when I first started with the gravity too. So I can like pretty much just hold shift, press D, and just move around like that. Which, keep in mind, by the way, this outside's also a prop as well. So that's why I fell through it. Like I said, lots of props make up this map. Now, let me reset my gravity, because that's the one thing I do have to do. Because I'm no clipping, that's typically not going to happen. So anyway, so now we have, that's obviously Moonpool observation. Go in here, we have the comms array. Let's see, what else do we have? I know there was more. What was it? I honestly think I covered everything, but I'm not sure. I could have sworn there was more actually in the map that I could show you guys. I think I might be thinking of some of the extra things I had in mind out. Oh yeah. So on the 4th floor, there's actually something there. We have, ladies and gentlemen, we have the Urban Combat Area Simulation. In here, troopers can engage in either PvP or player versus training droids to fight. And it's got various buildings, fucking barricade areas. There will actually be entities placed in here by default on the map. There's ladders to get into these areas. They actually work, by the way. Just be careful not to fly off to the side like I do sometimes. And it's got 2 sides and they're mirrored as well. It's pretty nice. And that's accessed through the starboard elevator. There will be no port side elevator, by the way. port side. The reason for no port side is that's going to be something else. And this is related to the no power issue. There needs to be a way that you can still traverse on the ship without power. So that's why that's going to be turned into something else for traveling across the floors. So, with that being said, I believe that is everything I wanted to show you guys in this update. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you all on the server soon, getting to enjoy these amazing things. This is Voscon Grim from Rapadant Networks, signing out.